Hi everyone, welcome to my channel. Welcome to Dev with Excel. Alright, so in this video, we are going to be solving exercise 2.13. Yes. Alright, so it says extract the code that handles the communication with the backend into its own module by following the example shown earlier in this part of the course material. Alright, so in the previous video, we solved exercise 2.12. Right, and I hope that was helpful. All right, so in this video we are going to be solving step 8, that's exercise 2.13 of the phone book. All right, so let's go into the code implementation. So here is my setup folder for exercise 2.13. I'm simply going to close this, and then I'm going to copy this part, and then let's quickly close this, and then let's cd into step 8 here. Also here, let's close this and cd into step 8. All right, so here I am going to be loading the front end, which is the React, and then here I'm going to be running the server. All right, so currently this is the working stage of our application. This is where we left off in the previous video. So we are going to be updating our codes, right? So let me just simply load the codes, the files we need. We need names.jsx, app.jsx, and main.jsx. All right, so it seems our front end is taking some time to load. Okay, so this is our front end. Let's confirm that the server also is working properly. All right, so this also works properly, right? Okay, so here let's simply minimize this part and then do the same here. So here we were asked to create a separate module, right? Let's go back to the instruction. It says we should extract the code that handles the communication with the backend into its own module. All right, so that's what we are going to be doing, right? So following exactly what was explained in this page here, that's what we'll be doing. All right, so what we are going to do is we need to create a file here, which in my case I am going to call it name.js. So we are going to be creating a service folder, right? A service folder. We are going to be calling it service and then call it name.js. All right, so we have a service folder, and inside of it we have name.js. Now what we need to do is we need to import axios here. So let's just go to app.jsx to import axios, and then paste it here. Then the next we want to do is since we are going to be working with the URL, we want to create a variable name that is going to hold that URL, right? So we can just say const base URL is equal to this. So that's going to be http colon double slash localhost colon 3001, then slash persons. I believe this is what we had, right? Okay, so we have slash persons. Now we are having some warnings here. Okay, never used, not yet used also. All right, so we are going to be using them. Okay, so the next thing we want to do is we want to create the function that is going to help us to fetch all the data from the backend, that's from the server, right? So let's call it get all. Const get all. So we'll be having something like this. Then we are going to be saying axios dot get. Inside of it, since this get is going to accept a URL, which is this one in our own case, we simply just copy this base URL, place it inside this part, right? And then we are going to assign this value to a variable name. So let's say const request. Let's call it request. So we have this. Then going to the next line, we want to return the promise. So we say return request dot then. Now here is going to accept a parameter called response, and then in that we are going to return the data in the response, something like this. So we save this, and I hope this works well. I don't think this is right. There's something wrong here. Okay, here we are supposed to have an equal to sign here. Let's save again. All right, so everything works well now. Now let's duplicate this, and then let's change get all to create. Let's call this create, and then create here is going to accept a parameter called new object. So here in the app.jsx, we can see that we have a new object here, right? This is a variable that holds this object, right? So it's called new object. So the create here is going to accept this new object as a parameter. Then here is going to be a post, because here we are trying to create, so we are no longer trying to fetch or get. So it is going to be a post, and what we are posting is we want to post the new object, right? So we simply just say new object, something like this, and the rest is the same. So now we need to export this so that this file becomes a module. So we say export default, then we place in this curly braces, and then we say get all, and then also create. So we are just trying to export the both functions so that we can use them in app.jsx, right? So what we need to do now is that we need to import this file in app.jsx. So as it stands now, we simply come here, and then let's say we want to import this file which is called name.js. So let's say import name, then we select this. So this auto complete it for us, right? So having done this, we've been able to import name, and as it is, we really don't need axios at this point, though we can still just leave it here, or we can choose to comment it. Let's comment it since we don't need it for now, but we need it, we uncomment it. All right, so the next thing we want to do now is that since we've replaced axios.get with get all and create, what we need to do is we simply just come here, and then instead of having axios.get, we are simply just going to say name, which is this file here, name dot get all, because we are trying to target this get all function in the name file. So we simply just come here and say, let's take this out. Let's say name dot get all. So let's be very sure that our app does not break. So it is looking like it is breaking already. Okay, so the next thing we want to do is we are going to change this response to something else. Let's call it initial person. Now, if you observe, I am just trying to follow almost what is being done in the material, right? So I think that's the best thing when one is actually trying to learn something new. So let's do something like this. All right. So I'll simply just save this again. So now we can see that we have the app working fine again, right? We initially it actually went bad, but now we've been able to fix it. All right, so we are going to do something similar to this part of the code where we have axios.post. So here we are going to simply now this post here, let's go back to name.jsx. So this create here is it accepts just one parameter, which is a new object, right? So we have to take note of that. That means that here we change axios to name again, and then change post to create. And the next we want to do is we want to take this base URL away. Now this is because create accepts just one parameter. That's why we have just name object. Then we remove response here. We can change this response to returned person. Let's copy return person. Can just paste it here and then change response.data to return person, and we do the same thing here as well. So let's go back to this part. Okay, all right, that looks to be working fine. So let's save this code. Let's hope nothing breaks. Okay, let's load this. Let's refresh this rather. Okay, now we've been able to carry out the code implementation for exercise 2.13. Now I want to test it if it works fine. Let's test it now. Let's try to add a name such as, let's call it red wine, assuming that's someone's name actually. Okay, so the number I want to give it is 23456. Let's add it. So here we have red wine 23456. Let's go to db.json file to see if that file was added. Okay, so here we can see we have red wine 23456 and then having its ID. All right, so with this, I believe we've been able to implement the code for exercise 2.13, right? And I hope this video was helpful, right? See you in the next video. Bye.